Welcome to Arrow's Technical Assistance video series on cottage foods. This is the third video in the cottage food series. The other videos can be found at Arrow's website, which is www.aeromt.org. In this session, we will cover how to create high-quality photos without being a professional. So first is to address why photos. And as we've learned from our previous videos, most small businesses use social media as a tool for online marketing and advertising. And these platforms are photocentric and are moving even more in that direction. So in order to be effective in marketing on social media, you need to catch people's eyes with photographs. And the best way to do that is to have high quality photographs. So the misconception is that you need to be a pro to have good photos of your products. But again, our goal is not professional. Our goal is high quality. So photos that are good enough for social media and do their job of showcasing your product. And primarily, they do that without high equipment costs. So to borrow the age-old saying in business, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So yes, you need to have photographs that are high quality, but you also need to present yourself as a trusted, authentic source for high quality food products. So first we will hear from Yulia on her tips for taking good photographs. In these videos have been talking about photos. Can you talk to us about your input on how photos have been important to your growing your business?
Right. Photos are central because when people are online, they're eating with their eyes. And to introduce your product, you need to take a good photo of it. So it is critical, it's imperative that you post pictures, of your product and not some copyrighted photos from somebody else's blog. You need to take good photos representing your product correctly. It doesn't need to be very staged. It doesn't need to be white professional photo background, but you need to what I'm talking is a light box. Yeah, it doesn't need to be in a light box, but you need to make them drool. Whatever you're taking a picture of, it needs to be up close, it needs to be detailed, it needs to be in a good light, and it needs to be mouth-watering. How you achieve that is a question of questions, but a few tips I can give is definitely don't mix the electric and the daylight. If you can. If you have to use electric light, use fluorescent or halogen lights because they're whiter. Avoid yellow light at all costs because it makes things look bad. Don't clutter. Don't have any clutter in the background. Take pictures against the window, like pictures over your kitchen sink are ideal. And just take a picture of the product when it's cut open or bitten or something. People need to imagine themselves actually eating it. So it's a trick that I've learned myself that it works really well.
Perfect. And are you able to do that with low equipment costs, or what's your input for folks that might not have access to fancy cameras?
Right. Fancy camera these days is not really necessary. Yes, I know professional photographers are gonna stone me to death, but your smartphone is your best friend right now. The cameras and lenses are getting better and better every year. You don't have to do much with it anymore. Just keep the phone very steady and don't move your hand when you take a picture. And that's all you really need. You don't need special equipment. I promise you that. I have a special camera and I have a tripod, but I don't use them at all. They're sitting in a box. Because when you're in the middle of something and you want to snap a picture of especially particularly good looking loaf or a cake, like just came out of the oven and looks stunning, and your hands are still greasy or covered in flour, the last thing you want to do is touch a $2,000 camera with that hand. So, but your smartphone is right there, and you grab it and you do it quickly. You don't need to stage anything. You don't need to stand on a stool to point down, or, you know, it's very, very handy, and I don't think you need much more than that. If you want a light box, for example, if you're doing really highly decorated cookies or cakes, light box may be helpful to you, but it's not necessary.
Great.
Yeah.
And it seems like, do you just use your camera editing software to brighten colors or crop, or what's your experience been with that?
Yes, for the most of my editing, I use just the camera, the photos adjustment software that's built in my iPhone. I don't know what kind of phone people have and what they have on Android, for example. I don't know, but the Photos app has the editing tool built in that works really well. If you don't know and you're not very savvy with these kind of things, which are pretty intuitive and easy to handle, but if you still don't feel comfortable with this, what I do recommend, you can cheat. You can open an Instagram account, which is, you know, photo showcase, right? So you can upload photos there, and they have built-in editing and filter mechanism. When you edit your photo in Instagram, it saves a copy on your phone.
Oh, great.
And then you have that edited copy with a great filter that looks stunning that you can use everywhere else. So that's what I recommend to people who are not savvy or not comfortable with editing. That's literally 3 clicks. You pick a photo, you find a filter that makes it look the best. You post a photo, and then it saves it to your photo files, and then you can use that photo everywhere else you want.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great tip. Thank you. So now we will check out some example photos from Yulia's Facebook page and reiterate some of the basics that she's presented. So the first is light. And good light is the most effective way of capturing good images. So it's important to start with the best available lighting, but again, not investing in expensive equipment, but being conscious of the options available to you when you need to take the photograph. So the best option is to use natural lighting whenever possible. And you need enough light, but also to avoid intense direct light that creates shadows. So you can see from these 2 photographs, the photograph of the bagels is not from Yulia. And it's an example of what direct light can do. It produces shadows that don't complement, but they actually distract from the photograph, as opposed to the lovely picture of the bread where the light actually accentuates the product. So Yulia gave us some great tips. One was to use to use the light from a window. So like a kitchen window that has a roof or an overhang that protects it from direct light. And if you can't avoid using direct light and you're inside, the pros use the big light diffusers. But some good tips are to tack up a sheet over a window, a white sheet that will let light through, or to use a light diffusing shade that allows some light to come through but avoids the direct light. You can also shoot a photograph outside under a patio shade or an umbrella. The next tip is to choose your background. So again, we want to choose a background that doesn't distract but adds to the photograph. We want to avoid overwhelming patterns and clutter. We want to choose a matte surface, so one that's not shiny or reflective. It's good to choose complementary colors, or if we can't do that, to just use neutral colors. And some great options are cutting boards, countertops, or a simple cloth or a kitchen towel. And again, these are both examples from Yulia where we can see a cutting board and a bit of cloth as a great background. So the next is to choose the message of your photographs. So as Yulia mentioned, we want to let people taste with their eyes. So you can showcase your product as part of a meal, or you can help your customer imagine it on their own plate, or imagine taking a bite out of your bread. So again, this is where we recognize that the content is important, and something as simple as allowing your customer to see you in the process, and of course, to let your personality come through. So the last quick tip is to get the most out of your photographs by using photo editing software. So this can be as simple as using the software that's built in your camera app on your phone, or in a platform like Instagram or Facebook. Another option is this example here. This is Lightroom, which is a free mobile app from Adobe. And Lightroom is nice in that it allows you to access a few more options when manipulating the lighting. So we can see an example here. On the left, this is a photograph that was basically overexposed. And then on the right, using Adobe's software, this is how you can adjust the lighting to make that photo look better. And this is just a quick snapshot of the back end of Adobe. So you can see the different aspects that you can manipulate with their software. And each one of them is independent to allow you to really get the best out of each and every one of your photographs.